Does cell phone use increase your risk of cancer? It's a hot-button debate.
Well, we don't want to frighten people. We want people to take precautions. That's the reason he wrote the memo.
Precautions being?
Well, to use an earpiece and to not keep your phone on your body all the time, and to make sure that children are not using cell phones.
At all?
No. Young children particularly need to be careful, and particularly toddlers who now have cell phones that they use to play with.
Well, we know that microwave radiation can damage cells, and there's been some experimental evidence to suggest that there are harmful effects. One of the recent studies from Sweden show that if you use cell phones for a period of 10 years, an hour a day, that your risk may be increased as much as twofold. If you have an 8-year-old using a cell phone, we don't expect them to develop lung cancer at 18, but at 48. So what happens after 20, 30, 40 years of use? That's the concern.
So what would you say to people who use cell phones?
I think the most important thing is that when we look at any type of radiation exposure, whether or not it's radio waves or gamma waves, is that the duration of your exposure. So clearly, if you're on the cell phone for a long period of time, I think we all have been in situations where our ear gets warm. That clearly means that maybe we're on a little bit too long.
So do what?
I think that an earpiece may help to greatly reduce the exposure for radio frequency radiation, but people need to keep in mind that if the phone is on the hip pocket, their whole body is still being exposed to the same amount of radiation that it would be if it was up to their ear. It's just that their brain...
What choice of cancer do I want? Hip or brain?
Well, surprisingly, the concern about radio frequency exposure is not so much for the brain or the hip, but really either the testes or the eyes. Those are the areas that are most sensitive to radio frequency